programs now from this group. So please don't go away after this program. All of you, we want you to continue with us and do some more programs.
Madam, can we start?
Sure.
Yeah. So exactly it is 8 and 5, so we have to start our program in time. So very good evening to all. Today again once more I am very happy to become a host to you on behalf of the AACCI, Association of the Adolescent and Child Care in India, and my special privilege that to introduce my own Executive Director, Dr. Swati Bhave Madam, and invite her for the further proceeding and the introduction of the today's program. Before that, at least I should introduce my own organization, AACCI, and for that I am just sharing my screen. So AACCI is an association of the Adolescent and Child Care in India, was registered in the 2007 in Mumbai under the chairmanship of the Padma Bhushan Dr. R.D. Lele sir and Executive Director Dr. Swati Bhave Madam. Our mission is holistic health of the child, adolescent and young adult through the two pillars of their life, parents and the teacher. We have added one more pillar of grandparents from 2020. We do mainly urban-based work with parents, teachers and students in school and colleges. We have recently started tribal projects also. We have 3 regional and 8 city center. Now we change it to the 4 regional and 7 city center and 1 international forum with different forum for the parents, teacher, students and the grandparents. AACCI has done the collaboration with the many organizations for both international and national levels also. AACCI work has received award for the many community work and our youth-based research. We have no membership fee. Anyone can join as an AACCI volunteer once it will be approved by our core committee. You can see our more work on our own websites, aacci.in and aaccitrainingprogram.com. You can also contact us on our website, our email, aacci2019@gmail.com. And also now we have a more enriched Facebook and Twitter and Instagram presence also. So this is all about the AACCI. Now I am handing over the Dr. Swati Bhave Madam for introduction of this module. Madam.
Thank you, Dr. Samir. I welcome our chair, Mr. Yashwant Bhave. I welcome our distinguished faculty, Dr. Ashish Deshpande, Jayashree Deshpande, Deepa Pasi, Advocate Pradna Talekar, PSI Subhas and PSI Suvarna, and Mr. Shibin Balan, and the other trainer, and Sangeeta Bafna. You all have worked very hard for this module, and I'm extremely happy to launch this module today. The main aim is that self-defense workshops are very important and they are being conducted by a number of agencies. But Samir and I sat together and said that AACCI does holistic work for adolescents. So instead of just doing a self-defense module, let us put it under our Empowerment of Youth project, in which we do holistic development of teens and children. So what we decided was that self-defense is a skill which is extremely necessary in today's violent world. But along with self-defense, we also need the mental strength to become very strong and also take the right decision. Because when a body goes under stress, it can either do fight or it can do flight. And if it's very scared, it can go into freeze. So we wanted the girls also to learn life skills, because this will teach them how to be mentally strong and how to take the right decision. It's very important that we have self-defense and we become very powerful, that we are able to take care of ourselves under danger. At the same time, one need not be overconfident. I have learned self-defense, so I have to fight every time. And your life skills will tell you at what stage you should fight and at what stage it is better to call for help and run away, and at what stage it is better to take any other decision. And hence we have included life skill component into this self-defense training. Second, we all know the body mind connection. So healthy body is healthy mind. So we also brought the component of healthy lifestyle, so that the girl is not only physically and mentally strong, but she also has a healthy body. And that is why we have introduced the component of healthy lifestyle. And of course, mind has to be with the body. So we have got Dr. Ashish Deshpande, a well-known psychiatrist, to get that element into it. And last but not the least, physical hygiene, especially for girls, is menstrual hygiene. And that's a very important component we need to teach all girls. And hence Dr. Deepa Pasi will be talking on that. Jayashi Deshpande and Sangeeta Bafna are two pediatricians and Niti Soni, who have actually done self-defense programs. So those three will give us very important tips on to do and not to do during self-defense. So everybody has worked very hard for this module, and this is our launch, and we plan to have many more programs in coming future. So on behalf of AACCI, I thank everybody on the screen to have contributed in their own way for making of this module. And Mr. Bhabe, would you like to say something, or would you like to say later?
Yeah, I think because I might be getting some other calls, I will try to be as much as possible. I think this is a very, very important initiative. And I remember our very good friend, Visvi Kapadia, I think 5th or 6th degree black belt. He used to teach both in the schools as well as to the police. I think he has trained some 100,000 police in Mumbai and all over. He used to say that this is a skill which is not only physical, it is more mental. And mind is the power which transfers into the body. That is what he was saying. And what Swati mentioned is he also says the same thing, not only for the girls, but even for the boys. I mean, you don't think that you can fight with 3 people and just go ahead and machogiri. You should defend if your back is to the wall. Otherwise, there is no need to show your skills. But this is a holistic approach. Both, I'm very happy that the police also is represented, the pediatricians are represented, and the lawyers also are there. And Samir and Madam Jayashri and Sangeeta, they have, and Niti, they have sort of put together a very, very informative program. And I wish such programs were there when we were in college. Unfortunately, that was not to be at that time. So I wish this program a great success, and this initiative, this movement, any program, one time may not be enough. It must transform into a movement, and that movement will carry it through, the momentum will carry it through, and that is where it will be dispersed all through wherever it is required. Thank you very much.
Samir, you can take over.
Yeah. Thank you, sir, for a nice summary of what we want for the ultimate outcome of our self-defense or the holistic development module. So now it's time to launch our module with a video release. So I'm just sharing my screen again for the video release, and then after we will start our today's panel discussion. My screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
Yes, so we now officially release our module, and our next step that we will having a one nationalized TOT. For that, we will train our trainer to make it execution at the school level to the each and every part of the country, and each and every girl at least sensitize herself for the about how she can start the ultimate development of the her including the self defense, mental and physical development, and that is our aim and objectives of our module. So after the completion of this panel discussion in the most probably first or the second week of the April, we will plan for our TOT, and then we can proceed for the all our India workshops. Yeah, Niti ma'am, now you take over.
Good evening to all the dignitaries and a big welcome to all the participants who have joined for today's program. Women are the real architects of society, and so empowering our young women, that is our teenagers. So we are taking a strong stand so that we can train these teenagers so that they can defend themselves even in difficult situations. And that is the whole intent behind the present module. We have a very eminent list of panelists today, and I'd just like to give a brief introduction of all of them. Dr. Jayashree Deshpande, she is an AACCI volunteer and she's a senior pediatrician from Vasai who has keen interest in preventive pediatrics. She is Vice President, IAP Palghar District, and an active member of AACCI and the IAP Women's Wing. She has many awards to her name, and she has conducted many training workshops on self-defense for teenagers. Our next panelist is Dr. Deepa Pasi. She is the Youth Forum in charge of AACCI NCR, and she is a consultant at Apollo Hospital, Noida and New Delhi. She has received many awards and honors and has also contributed chapters in various adolescent textbooks and journals. She too has conducted many adolescent health workshops at national level. At present, she is the secretary of AHA Delhi. Our next panelist is Dr. Ashish Deshpande. He is an eminent psychiatrist from Mumbai and who will be guiding our teenagers. Dr. Ashish Deshpande has been practicing since 1996. He is a life fellow of Indian Psychiatric Society and was a president of Mumbai Psychiatric Society from 2015 and 16. And he has been associated with Directorate of Mental Health, State Government of Maharashtra in various committees. He has been working in the field of school mental health, de-addiction, gender sensitization, age awareness at various levels. Welcome, sir. Dr. Sangeeta Loda Bafna is our next panelist, and she is a senior pediatrician from Nasik. She has conducted self-defense awareness sessions along with Rotary and was the chief coordinator of self-defense workshop at Pedicon, Noida 2022. Next is Dr. Pradnya Talekar. She is a dynamic High Court lawyer practicing at Aurangabad High Court branch. She is a graduate of law from the National Law University, Jodhpur, with honors degree in intellectual property rights and a distinction holder in postgraduate course from the University of Oxford, UK. I would also like to invite PSI Suvarna Umap. Umap Madam is the head of Damini Pathak, an all-women squad to safeguard the females in distress. She has also helped women in rehabilitation whenever needed. After doing outstanding work in Latur, Nanded, at present she is posted at Aurangabad. Mr. Sibin Balan, he is a well-known Taekwondo and self-defense trainer from Mumbai who has conducted various self-defense workshops in past 10 years. Mrs. Chaitali Sapkal is a self-defense trainer from Mumbai. Unfortunately, we couldn't have her today because of some personal reasons, but she has been contributing in this module. I wholeheartedly welcome all the eminent panelists for today's launch of our AACCI module on empowerment of adolescent girls defending herself. Over to you, Samir, sir.
So we having a totally 2 pediatricians doing the self-defense workshop very wholeheartedly. One pediatrician who is already worked with us for the menstrual hygiene module. We have get 2 physical trainers who are really working excellently on the in front of the different school with the Jayashree madam. One lawyer practicing actively for the women's health and empowerment. One eminent psychiatrist who is working specifically for the such type of the field, and of course the our own protector, one police commissioner, police inspector madam, and almost we having only 3 minority of the male person, then the girls are the dominant for today's work, that our panel discussion also. So this is the our today's summary of the panel discussion, that ultimately we empowering the girls with the our panel discussion also. So let's start with our panelists to take their enrich us with their own knowledge. With the first question to the, I think, Madam Niti Madam, you can take over with the Bapna Madam is there.
Okay. I would like to ask this question to Dr. Sangeeta Bafna ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am, how self-defense training helps a woman to defend herself?
Before she starts, I can say she is already defending herself with a stressful condition since morning, and she is able to join us just because of her strength only. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Good evening to all of you. As Samir sir told that I was since morning going through severe tremendous pressure, because I had lost my laptop. I had just forget in my car, and I was just racing here and there. I was in the police station alone. I was going with police praise to that person, and that time I also just find out how empowered I am because of this self-defense awareness module. So first of all, I want to tell the word itself, just say I am powered. Empowered means I am powered. The strength, the inner strength which is inside me because of this training has made me today to face all these odd situations. So actually I can say that this is not our right, it is our duty, and the essential thing is to bear always in mind that trouble can appear at any time and at any place. Self-defense is not just a set of technique, it's a state of mind, how you present yourself in front of anybody when you come in any type of stressful situation or any type of odd situation which can attack on you. So these are few important things I should mention. But when I just want to just mention one more thing. When I started from my home to that place where I was just about to trace, and then I find out that my car should be full of petrol. So it means that whenever we are going outside, our car must have petrol full, so we can just if suppose we have to go for the long duration, we must be aware that there is no problem for that. Second thing, I must have some small weapon, like even a safety pin, which was my strongest weapon in such odd situation. If suppose I get any problem, then that small safety pin was my weapon. Third thing, my mobile must be fully charged whenever I start from my home, because anytime whenever I just find anything helpful, so that was my mobile through which I can trace anybody. So these all small tips I have learned after the self-defense awareness program. Self-defense helps women to protect themselves and builds confidence in them. That is very strong positive part of this self-defense awareness training module, or getting trained yourself for this self-defense awareness. Hence, grooming our friends for the same becomes the responsibility, especially for our adolescent girls and women who face day-to-day this type of problems or situations. That is the reason I also requested IP Pedicon team to take this type of odd man out type of workshop to make aware our generation about this self-defense awareness training program. Of course, it was not an academic program, but under CSR activity, this everybody has appreciated this type of module to be presented in big conferences. So what I want to tell, make self-defense a part of your learning, just like cooking. It is said that a gold roti or chapati won't save your life, but awareness regarding this definitely will save you. Don't just enable her, your daughter or any woman, to stand on her feet, but also teach her to put her foot down. Nurturing, caring, cooking are some facets of a women's essence. she becomes a force to reckon with when she learns self-defense, because the inner power comes in herself whenever she goes through all these odd situations. So self-defense teaches us three things: courage, energy, intelligence. This all comes automatically when we go through the self-defense awareness training program, or when we just learn self-defense. So it is better to be overly cautious than to be sorry later. Feel free to all my friends, I request, feel free whenever you come in this type of situation, be ready to face this bravely, courageously. And this is as Swati, as sir said, that the self-defense is a state of mind. The power is inside you, within you. Only by stirring with a full eyeballing effect to the person who is coming in front of you. He again, if suppose you just see him like this, then he will be afraid to face you. And so many small tips. I just it's a very small time has been given to me, but I started talking about self defense.
Yes,
Or
ma'am.
of learning this, it will take lots of time. In fact, the whole day will be less for me. So
We
these
will,
are
we will definitely continue and take all these points in the module also, ma'am. Definitely. And it was an excellent start. Thank you so much, ma'am.
yeah. Thank you.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. You have described very clearly few things. It is definitely a very short time to describe everything in for the self-defense or the empowering the girl. Definitely, it's not practically possible. But it's our today panel discussion mainly for the overview of our module, and we just giving us highlights of the things what we can do with this module. So my next question to the our own trainer, Dr. Jayashree Deshpande, madam. Madam, you are already working with your trainer in your local area and conducting many programs. Just now, as Sangeeta Bapna, madam says, we had already conducted this program at our Padicon National Conference also. So, what is your take-home message or the experiences what you get from the different school when you are going for this type of the module and in front practicing them for this type of the self-defense?
Good evening, everybody. Respected Dr. Swati Bhave, Madam, Dr. Bhave, Sir, Dr. Ashish Deshpande, and Dr. Sabir Shah, Sir. At the outset, I want to thank you from bottom of my heart for giving me such a good platform. For that, we have to plan and propose. And plan when you are going to set the session, propose to the school and write it who, what, and how you will be conducting. Like whom you are addressing, the girl's age, like 14 to 18 years we used to address. For that, we have to understand the vernacular language also. Then what you will be teaching, whether it will be only session which will give you a physical training, or there will be a visual simulation about the fighting sequences, so that the girls remember in their mind what has to be done and how to how and what you want in that session. Like we have to specify that we will be teaching only 50 or 100 girls. We have to have a hall, or we have to provide water when the need, because hydration is required. And at the end, we used to give small healthy snacks like banana or rasgira laddu or dates, so that it completes the session. Along with in between, we used to talk about how they are feeling. Are there any experiences of their own? They will be sharing these experiences. That's how we plan and propose the session.
Right. Which experiences usually they share with you?
Most of the time, we make them aware about the sixth sense in their day-to-day life. Like what exactly we teach them, the awareness techniques. Like what exactly is sixth sense? Is it a mirage or a reality? For that, we have to understand the scientific way which they are like having the understanding of sixth sense. Whether it is like we have to tell them there are proprioceptors, there are magnetoreceptors, and कोई बंदा अगर दूर से देख रहा हो या पीछे से भी हमको बहुत बार देखता है, तो we तुरंत understand कुछ seconds में कि somebody is watching us. So that also how it happens. Then we have to tell about if the electromagnetic field around each and everyone, that we are having an electromagnetic field. पुरानों में उसको ऑरा बोलते थे. If कोई अजनबी अपने बहुत पास में आता है और it disturbs the electromagnetic field, then हमको बेचैनी सी महसूस होती है. That we have to understand when it has happened, and then we have to make them aware कि ऐसा कुछ हो रहा है अगर अपने लाइफ में. then you have to understand कि you have to write it down, you have to communicate with your friends, with your parents, and also set a verbal boundary or set a physical boundary so that you will prevent the untoward incidences. And that's how we teach them about the awareness techniques in the self-defense technology. After that, we have to understand whether the verbal and physical boundaries are set in. If at all we are aware that we are in the safe environment or not, whether in this situation they have to fight or flight, or in this situation, if at all they are in a threat, whether it is a grave threat or a minor threat. And if the threat is really like causing a danger to their life or their purpose of life, then we have to teach what exactly is to be done at that period of time.
Thank you, ma'am. So now let's take the advantage of our own advocate Pradya madam. What are the different type of the crime for which the girl usually seeks help from the laws?
So, the laws that way I would say are adequately there. Right from the birth of a female child, all of your doctors, the PCPNDT Act. So right from there onwards, for children protection against sexual offences, you have the POCSO Act. You have a right in property, you have a right in education. In marriage, also marital rape is considered an offense now. There's the Domestic Violence Act, which prevents not only physical or sexual abuse, but even emotional and financial abuse by any family member of the in-laws side. Dowry deaths, several IPC offenses ranging from something on a slightly lesser gravity of eve teasing to something going to the last extent of rape or bodily harm, death, outraging modesty, sexual assault. Trafficking is also made an offense by a different statute. Cyber crimes are also now included in IPC, also under the IT Act. Pornography distribution or exhibition to anybody under 20 is an offense. Obscenity is an offense. So everything that a girl child or an adolescent girl may consider to be something that puts her in an uncomfortable space is already made an offense. Or there are some other civil rights that she has. So the law is very much there, but the awareness of this law, and if there is a law in my favor, how do I use it? The practical difficulties of knowing the procedure, from whom do I ask for help, and how much time will it take? Will it affect my image in the society? These are really the issues why we see so many people do not end up reporting something that has happened to them. So funnily, when I was in a boarding school, 12 girls in 2 dormitory rooms against each other were talking, and he realized that 9 out of 12 had suffered some form of sexual harassment as a child. And then I looked up, this is very, very staggering for me. Then I looked it up, and the statistics across the globe seem to be somewhere similar. That so many women go through these kind of issues as a child or, in their adolescent teenage years, but nobody reports. Sometimes the family doesn't support. Sometimes they do not have enough courage or understanding to open up to somebody in the family. Those relations, because all of these subjects are considered taboo subjects. हम नहीं बात कर सकते खुल के घर पे इन चीजों के बारे में, because nobody has spoken to us. Child rights, what is a good touch, what is a bad touch, this is not explained to children. So all of these things come into the fold of why people do not report. Another thing which I say is a systemic problem of which even I am a part today, and we try our best to resolve it, that there is not enough faith of everybody on the justice delivery mechanism as also the police system. So this has to increase when there will be more and more sensitivity from all the stakeholders involved. Then women will be more comfortable in opening up and actually sharing their issues and finding a justice solution to it.
Thank you so
yes,
much.
Yes, madam. Means ultimately the insecurity faith, lack of the faith, lack of the knowledge, and the improper distribution of the knowledge. That are the ultimately reason. That's why they are not coming up with such type of the issue. And I think which are the issue which is coming to the law or the with the police is just a tip of the iceberg. So many issues are there, but someone has to do properly work for the socialization, and they have to keep them girls to let them come forward for this type of the issue right now. Thank you.
My next question is to Dr. Jayashree, madam. Madam, you have been taking lots of workshops, and I have also seen, even I have been taking different workshops. The girls, they come for the workshop once, they do it, and then it is done. So what difference does it make when the girl has attended the workshop once and then she has stopped practicing all the techniques that have been taught during the workshop?
That's always, we always say that practice makes man perfect. And that applies here also. But for this session, I always say is initial sensitization of the girls, making her aware about exactly that visual simulation in her mind will always help her to deliver the things when she is in danger, or whatever her inner core is there, like confidence is there, her focus is there, will always be developed with attending only one session also. For that, ideally we should have minimum 4 sessions with minimum of 2 hours duration. And as this is holistic model is important, where the mental as well as physical strength also is required. Also, the girl should be physically fit. Having good nutrition is one of the basic criteria to teach her about the self-defense. If the girl is very thin, not able to deliver the punch which is taught to her, then there is no use of teaching all this self-defense technology. So basically, they should not be iron deficient, they should not be protein deficient, regular exercise, and the mental core strength is also required along with teaching of this physical self-defense tactics. Thank you.
Very, very true, ma'am. Actually, I had taught this, even I had asked my daughter also to be a part of the self-defense workshop. And like when the children, they hardly get time with the studies now to really practice it. But when after a year or so, I asked her, she told me, I may not be having that strength at a physical level, but at the mental level, I do feel very strong that whatever may be the situation, I know how to handle it. And I think that is what we really want to impart, the mental strength along with the physical strength. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Very true. And my journey also started with my daughter going to US, and I was trying to teach her this self-defense technology.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, ma'am. My next question is to Mr. Balan. And like Jayashree madam has just said, that you need a lot of physical fitness here. So we know that Mr. Balan sir, he is a Taekwondo expert and he's been practicing since past 20 years. And he has been practicing self-defense as well. So Taekwondo, boxing are sports which teach you to defend yourself. But what about those children who do not play such sports? Can they pick up self-defense, or do they need some additional coaching? What fitness exercise will be of help to them? Mr. Balan.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are absolutely audible.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving me this platform. I'm very much obliged. So as you have said that Taekwondo, all the martial arts are good as it gives you strength, as it gives you self-confidence and strength, as well as you get many techniques to learn when you are learning any martial art. But there is not a compulsion, or there is not a compulsion that all are interested or all are passionate to learn self-defense. So those who are not learning, they can just have a workshop of self-defense for like once or twice, so that they know what are the techniques which are not important if they are learning martial arts. A little bit of vulnerable points, some lockings which can be released with some techniques. These are the some of the important techniques which they have to learn without learning a self-defense. Without learning any martial arts. It's general term, general public can learn any self-defense technique without going into any martial arts class. Okay, so additional coaching will helpful. It's an advantage for those who are going there because they will get because in martial arts it doesn't only teach self-defense. We have various endurance practices, strength, stamina, which will improve, which will help them in going through that victimized phase. But I can suggest that who are not passionate enough or those who are not interested, they can just learn from the self-defense workshop and they can use the technique which has been taught.
So you
Now
mean mean to say that a general level of fitness, whatever form of exercising they are doing, will be good enough for them to pick up these self-defense various things that you all are going to teach during the module. So an average amount of fitness is good enough for them?
Yes, average is enough. Depends on, they have to just learn the technique. For example, it doesn't have doesn't want too much of strength. You have to just have the technique at the right place at the right time so that you can release from the lockings or you can release from the attack which is coming in the front. They have to be vigilant enough. As Jaishni madam has said, you should have a sixth sense so that you are very much equipped for any attack coming through you, and then you can just release from the place from where you can go. That for example, your first attempt should be to defend yourself or run from the place. Go from the place. Avoid any attack rather than take the attack to yourself. That is the last chance. But what you do. So first you have to move from the place. If you cannot move, you cannot go from the place, then you can defend yourself, defend from your body and use the techniques which has been taught to you.
Absolutely. अभी आप बात करते करते ये भी बताया है कि there are certain vulnerable points in the human body. So can you please tell about all those points when the girl is not able to move out of the place, she has to face it, so she can target those points for self-defense?
Yes. So like if you think that the attacker is too strong, you're not able to defend yourself. You have done many techniques. As a general person, you don't know any martial arts. You try to release yourself. You took all the opportunity, took all the strength, but you're not able to release. But there are many vulnerable points, many pressure points, where you can just press by using less energy, by using less time. You can release the attack and move from the attacker. So that are the, like you have, for example, in between on the neck, you have one small, it's called as bone of your neck, where you press with your index finger. If you're touching it for 2 or 3 seconds, you will get hurt. Your breath will stop for a second. So that is the point where you can make place to release, make time to release. So you're touching with your one index finger, but if you're touching with your both thumb together and pressing it together, it will be too much pain for the attacker. So so this is the one pressure point. There are many other. For example, it's there in the shoulder. It's there behind the ear. Okay, it's there behind near the upper arm. It's in between the joints on the elbow. We have different pressure points which we teach them in the self-defense workshop. Yes. Because even they should be aware of the lockings. They should be aware of the various punches, blocks, kicks. But if this all doesn't work, then we can come to the vulnerable points or the pressure points which they can use and they can release themselves from the situation.
Absolutely. We have a photographic representation of the target points even in our module, which we will definitely be showing when they are joining it. Thank you so much, Mr. Balan. Samir sir, over to you.
Yes, yes. So with the ultimate conclusion of the Mr. Balan's talk is that we have to remain having a good strength. And for our physical strength or the mental strength, at least we should have a good, healthy lifestyle also. So my next question to Dr. Sangeeta Bafna, madam. enumerate the importance of the healthy lifestyle for the preventing, protecting, and defending the female herself?
For healthy lifestyle, I would say I would like to just rather explain how important it is to be happy and keep your mind healthy and happy. So for that, positive mindset is very important. Second thing, nutrition. What diet you take, what type of diet, and what did you include in your diet, that is also a very important thing. Then exercise. All types of exercise, all types of sports may help you in some way to improve your healthy lifestyle. Then good sleep, have a peaceful sound sleep. This is again a very important point to keep yourself healthy, and this comes in healthy lifestyle. Sometimes if you are very much overburdened or you are very tense, just go to sleep and listen a light music. That will keep you very much calmness and then happiness or soothingness of the mind. That is again will make you happy. This also comes in healthy and happy lifestyle. Then your family relation, your bonding with your surroundings, your relatives, your friends, that will boost up your mind, your health, and everything, and that will create a positive vibes around you. That will again make you happy and will indirectly help you to be propagate any odd situation or any odd situation with which you can fight bravely. Then sometimes pranayam, meditation, yoga, this also helps to keep you healthy and happy forever. So these are the small points. And in conclusion, I can say ki positive mind, healthy mind is happy mind, and happy mind gives you so many direction to keep you every time alert, keep you just signals or alarms to face odd or any situation which comes suddenly in front of you. So these are the way we can keep ourselves healthy, strong, happy, and positive.
Right, ma'am. Very nicely said. Totally, we can say there is a three pillar of the healthy lifestyle, means including the healthy nutrition, then healthy sleep and healthy exercise. All these three pillars, if we take proper care, ultimately gives us a good, healthy, happy lifestyle also, and the health also. So now next question will be definitely related with the woman's health only. And we know when the first menstrual cycle starts, all the even parents and the child both remain in the confusing phase. And that ultimately creates some improper hygienic value when the starting of the menses. Even mother also not know properly how to teach the first what the things that they have to do. So my next question to our module in charge of that menstrual hygiene, Dr. Deepa Pasi, how can we optimize the hygiene to be maintained by the girl during the menses? And what is the role of the mother, medical doctor, and other stakeholders to educating the girl about the menstrual hygiene?
Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank Dr. Swati Bhave and Aki for giving me this platform. Now, addressing the first question, how can optimum hygiene be maintained by a girl during her menses? Well, menstrual cycle is not just a biological process, but a social one as well, and has major social and economic implications on all girls and women. However, it is observed that many adolescent girls do not have access to the right scientific facts and hygiene practices during the menstrual cycle, which may lead to adverse health outcomes. So poor menstrual hygiene management can have a very serious impact on their physical as well as mental health. There are a few pointers towards it, how we can go about with a good menstrual hygiene. One is keeping the pad on for a long duration. When you're active during the day, your menstrual flow is very heavy, and so the pad absorbs more of blood, sebum, and sweat. This creates a bleeding ground for the bacteria, which is why it is not advised to wear the pad more than 4 hours. However, when you're asleep, the flow is less. Then you can have the intensity of the bleeding is also reduced during that time. So you can wear a pad overnight. Second is to maintain the hygiene, that is wash properly your genitalia. Now, when the blood creates a favorable environment for the growth of the bacteria, so rinsing the genital area at least twice a day is recommended. The organisms basically cling to the body even after you have removed your sanitary pad. However, don't wash your vagina and vulva too regularly. This can throw off the pH balance, leaving you more susceptible to yeast infections as well as bacterial infections. Third, track your
Excuse
periods
me,
regularly.
Deepa ma'am, just
Yes.
interrupting. Your
Yes.
voice is breaking.
Voice is breaking.
Yeah.
Is it better now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So track your periods regularly. There are many apps available. You can maintain a diary or a journal of your periods. Don't avoid tracking your period. Your menstrual cycle is very important indicator of your overall health. Don't use a tampon more than 4 hours because it can, if it is retained in the body, accidentally it can lead to toxic shock syndrome because it has got a lot of absorbing power. Then use of the menstrual cup and don't use scented products. The vagina is a self-cleaning organ. It is important to preserve its natural flora and using regular soap or even specific cosmetic products for intimate hygiene. Yes.
Madam, just interrupting. Again, voice is breaking. Can you do something?
I'll just give me.
Because too much noise is coming and voice is too
I'll
much.
switch off them. Fine. Is it better now?
Yes, yes, it
Okay,
is.
It's quite better.
Okay, fine. I have to switch off the fan. That's fine. No problems. So damaging hygiene product, deodorants and sprays can trigger vaginitis, and it includes symptoms like itching, redness, and abnormally heavy vaginal discharge. So use either wet wipes or rinse your genitalia from front to back. And disposal of the used sanitary napkins is also very important. You must wrap them up and dispose it. Wrapping will discard to ensure that there is no smell, as well as it will, the infection can be contained. And do not flush the pad down the pots because it can lead to blockage as well as the water to back up. Always wash your hands after changing sanitary napkins because it can cause infections from viruses like hepatitis B and C. And wear breathable clothing like cotton underpants because synthetics can lead to increased absorption of moisture and heat and leading to bacteria to thrive. Now, coming to the second part of the question, that is to enumerate the role of the mother. Well, talking to your daughter about her period may at first be a little awkward. One of the main obstacles to overcome before you have the talk is getting comfortable with your own thoughts and feelings. Talk with your partner, your mother or close friend how to go about with your feelings. Go somewhere private, a place which is more amiable, and where your daughter feels safe to talk about the huge milestone in her life. Prepare the girl by talking about pain, blood flow, age of onset, and other questions they have in mind. And parents should approach the menstruation or as a normal body function, similar to like going to the bathroom, talking to about in a non-judgmental way that shows that you're not embarrassed to talk about it. Reassure your daughter that it won't hurt too much. Mention about the cramps and tell them there are remedies available about it, that you can use a hot water bottle or a pain killer for it, and you can remain physically active during that period. Then secondly, don't assume that your daughter knows everything. So you have to have health education classes in the school. They don't impart that much of knowledge. So your daughter's period will come when she is ready. While there's no way to guarantee the exact age, parents can make a guess estimate. Generally, it starts within 2 years of beginning of the breast development. Don't wait till your girl gets the period. So you have to train, just like you potty train your child. Similarly, you must train the child and tell her about the periods before she gets them and demonstrate to her how she can use the pad and the underwear. It will give an understanding that it is something that is not just happening to her, but to entire peers. Plus, she will be able to take care of herself if the periods start and when the mother is not around, maybe in the school or the extracurricular activity. Teach your daughter to track about the periods. Explain them how the flow will occur. Reassure that the blood can be bright, pink, or red, or even brown. And though it may look a lot, it is just 3 to 5 tablespoons. And you can explain that periods occur for about 28 days. They can come anywhere between 21 to 35 days, usually lasting 3 to 7 days. But keep the communication open. The earlier you begin talking to your child about the changes to you expect during puberty, the better. Don't plan a single tell-all discussion. Instead, plan on a series of conversations. If your child asks questions about menstruation, answer them openly and honestly. Stress to your daughter that getting your period is normal, healthy, and does not hurt. Tell her that periods are a sign her body is working properly and growing from a girl's body into a woman's body. Explain that getting a monthly period is her body's way of practicing for the time to come someday when she may have a baby. Show your daughter the differences between the various products and tell her about the 3 P's, that is puberty, periods, and privacy.
Thank you, madam. Just interrupt because now we have.
Yes, to sensitize the boys also. And now coming to the third part of your thing, the stakeholders. When there are under the government of India, there are many awareness programs.
And the voice is breaking. Can't hear you.
It is the Kishore Shakti Yojana, the SAPLA, that is a scheme for empowerment of adolescent girls. Women-led Nirmal Bharat Abhiyan programs, that is the SHIELD, which S stands for the syndication, H for the menstruation, E for the education, and E for the employment and empowerment, L is for the women sanitary complexes. And the agencies which can help are the UN agencies, the NGOs, the government officials, the product manufacturers, the schools imparting the important health, and the UNICEF support with the 3 menstrual MH hygiene product, which includes the social support, the girls' influences, knowledge and skills, and there is one thing which has come
Deepa
out.
ma'am,
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we can't hear you at all.
Okay,
It is much better just log out and log in again with the other device.
Yes.
It is much better.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's difficult for us to continue with this type of thing. Please.
Okay, fine.
So let's move to our next panelist. Because with the help of the physical health, we also have to take up for the mental health also. And for that, taking care, we having our eminent psychiatrist, Dr. Ashish Deshpande is with us. So, sir, our question is, how does the mental strength help you if you are attacked and you are already frightened when you are attacked? How can you stay tough with such a difficult situation? Requesting you to please keep in a brief and clear messages only, because we having you to complete a few more questions also. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, right. Dr. Soni just said that her daughter gave you the answer. You don't require a mental health expert. At least she knows that what needs to be done, even if she doesn't have the physical strength. What needs to be understood is that what she's trying to say is that whenever perpetrator attacks, he is planning for a long time. He is very planned in his attack. And the victim faces that attack as a startle. And when that happens, obviously, when you're not prepared, your responses are not going to be the most rational ones. I think what this program tries to achieve is that somewhere this particular vulnerability, unfortunately, that exists in our society is made aware or to the girl child. And that's a good beginning. That's a good beginning because they have to live in this society and they have to live safe. So it's a good beginning that in that, whatever that is required. So our fitness expert said something which was very interesting and which was very new to me also, that there are certain points behind the ears which are painful. I need to practice them. Probably in today's world, we need, all of us need this information. So I think the preparedness starts right from being aware that I can be a victim to this assault, to getting into such situations or avoiding such situations. So be safe. It's not, you cannot throw caution to the wind all the time because I've done this particular workshop. So you have to be careful. You have to find out how you will not get vulnerable. And then things comes is that um, there are alarm centers in the brain, and all of us have these alarm centers, and we respond differently. And when we respond, it's a genetic response. It's not necessarily in our control. Some people respond to alarm situations better than the others. So how do we try to manipulate or modulate the response of the alarm center of the locus ceruleus that is there in our brain? If it is very vulnerable, you can also get numb, and you could have post-traumatic stress disorder later on. But if it is little resilient, then probably you will be able to face it better. But it's a very difficult situation to be in, and I wouldn't say that only women are vulnerable. Even men can be vulnerable in such situations. So I think this program should not be conducted only for girl child, but even for boy child. I would send my son for this program.
Sure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir. Actually, this was the point which was discussed with Swati ma'am. So we decided to start with the females first, and then we were planning to go on even for the boys. And absolutely, in today's world, it is a necessity even for the boys to be really be trained for the self-protection.
So no gender bias also.
Yes. Thank you so much. My next question is to Advocate Pradnya ma'am. Ma'am, how is sexual assault different from sexual harassment? Can you elaborate it? I just want something in brief. You can just go in with few points.
So sexual assault is an offense under the IPC, Indian Penal Code, and it necessarily involves the component of force. Force has to be a physical force. So unless somebody is in bodily contact or in some way forcing you, sexual assault will not kick in. The offense, the ingredients will not be made out. Sexual harassment, on the other hand, has much broader connotations. Anything that makes a woman feel uncomfortable, even underhanded comments between two men as she passes, can amount to sexual harassment.
Eve teasing.
Anything that she feels. I'm sorry?
Eve teasing as well.
Eve teasing, surely. But sexual harassment has many components. One of them is a physical touch. The others could be if you stare at her in a manner that makes her uncomfortable, or if you make her watch something which has sexual overtones to it. All sorts of these things could have the flavor of sexual harassment, and the only judgment made to see whether it comes within the fold of harassment or not is whether that conduct is making the woman uncomfortable, and whether it has some indirect overtones also of a sexual nature.
Thank you. We will have this at length in the module. Just a brief thing was what I had wanted from you, and thank you so much for that. My next question is about the POCSO Act and how it safeguards the girls.
So this was a very child-oriented act that came in 2011. And like Dr. Deshpande mentioned, this doesn't make a gender bias between a girl or a boy child. This act is equally applicable to all children below the age of 18. And it not only lays down some offenses for sexual offenses, but also gives a separate procedure. So child-friendly courtrooms. Today, all of us have this idea that if you go into a courtroom, it's a very formal, solemn environment, and nobody wants to happily step into that kind of a situation. You're already on your toes. You're not in a comfortable environment where you could give out the truth. And for a child, more so. So these courts, there are special courts, and the entire procedure is different. The way evidence is collected is different. The child, either girl or boy, is made comfortable by the judge first. The judges have a different kind of training program to attend to POCSO cases. And the punishment for POCSO and the same offense for an adult are entirely different. So much heavier punishment is given in this statute. And also this aspect of how close family relations are often involved in sexual offenses to children, against children, that is also catered in the act, and that is considered an aggravated form of sexual offense, and that has a much graver penalty than a person who is not of influence or not having enough power on the child.
So ऐसे ही कहा जाता है कि usually the initial offenses on the child are from the close, the near ones, the known ones. So they have to be very careful about how they are being approached, and they should know it. Thank you so much, Dr. Mrs. Talekar. My next question is to our police inspector. PSI ma'am, आप आ गई हो?
Yes, ma'am.
ओके, सुवर्णा मैम, आपके लिए मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है, पुलिस के पास लड़कियां क्या क्या कंप्लेंट्स लेकर आती है?
First of all, good evening all of you.
थैंक यू
मैम, आप पुलिस के पास तो यूजुअली लड़कियों की तो कंप्लेंट ये है, जब जैसे कि आपने मैम से क्वेश्चन पूछा था, सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट, सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट, डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस या फिर साइबर क्राइम्स की वो पीड़ित होती है, और उसके साथ ही साथ जो अब हमारे चीटिंग के जो है केसेस, तो एक 5-6 टाइप के जो पीड़ित रहती है, तो महिला वो हमारे तरफ आती है। पुलिस की तरफ बोले, और आपने जो दामिनी पथक, मैं जो दामिनी पथक में कार्यरत हूँ, तो दामिनी पथक का स्पेशली बोला जाए तो महिलाएं जो हमारे पास आती है, जो इंस्टेंट जिनको हेल्प की जरूरत है, इमरजेंसी हेल्प, जब आपके घर के बाहर हो, आप काम पे जा रहे हो या रोड पे हो, कोई आपका पीछा कर रहा है, कोई छेड़खानी कर रहा है आपसे, या फिर आपके पास कोई गलत व्यवहार कर रहा है, कोई आपके साथ बदतमीजी कर रहा है, तो ऐसे सिचुएशन में जो है, हम तो पुलिस स्टेशन में जाके जो रिपोर्ट नहीं दाखिल कर सकते। तो इस सिचुएशन में महिलाओं और लड़कियों के लिए सेफ्टी और सिक्योर एनवायरनमेंट तैयार करने के लिए ऑल ओवर इंडिया वुमेन सेफ्टी स्क्वाड्स बनाए गए हैं। ऐसी मैंने जो बताई है, इस टाइप की कंप्लेंट के पास आती है।
ओके, तो ये सारी जो कंप्लेंट्स, आप मैम, आप दामिनी पथक औरंगाबाद की हेड है, तो ये दामिनी स्क्वाड के जैसे हम लोगों ने सुना है कि, और पिक्चर्स में भी देखते हैं कि एक निर्भया स्क्वाड है, एक पिंक स्क्वाड है, तो क्या ये सारे एक ही होते हैं क्या ये, और इन सारे स्क्वाड्स का काम क्या होता है बेसिकली? क्या वो वुमेन को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए है या इमीडिएट एक्शन ली जाती है उसी वक्त?
मैम, जो हमारा 2012 में जो निर्भया हत्याकांड हुआ था, उसके बाद ऑल ओवर इंडिया में वुमेन सेफ्टी स्क्वाड्स बनाए गए हैं। ये अलग अलग नाम से पहचाने जाते हैं ऑल ओवर इंडिया। जैसे सुनो कि हमारे महाराष्ट्र में दामिनी पथक है, औरंगाबाद शहर में, तो मुंबई में निर्भया स्क्वाड है, दिल्ली में निर्भया स्क्वाड है, तो मैक्सिमम इसका नाम निर्भया स्क्वाड है, और अलग अलग राज्यों के इसके अलग अलग नाम है, लेकिन उसका काम ही एक ही है कि महिलाओं लड़कियों के लिए इमरजेंसी हेल्प प्रोवाइड करना, और जो अपराध है उनको प्रतिबंध करना। इसलिए पूरा स्क्वाड काम करता है। महिलाओं को इमरजेंसी हेल्प के साथ ही साथ कॉलेजेस, स्कूल्स, जो ट्यूशन एरिया है, जो स्टडी पॉइंट्स है, और जो हमारे औरंगाबाद शहर तो जैसे ऐतिहासिक शहर है, तो यहाँ जो भी ऐतिहासिक पॉइंट्स है, और जो भी हमारा स्लम एरिया है, यहाँ जाके कॉर्नर प्रोग्राम लेते हैं और अवेयरनेस भी किया जाता है वाइडली, एकदम वाइड लेवल पे। उसका जो एक्ट है, और जो सर ने अभी हमने अपने पैनलिस्ट में जो है सेल्फ डिफेंस के प्रोग्राम्स और कुछ ट्रिक्स दी जाती है लड़कियों के लिए, ऐसे हमारा दामिनी स्क्वाड काम करता है।
एब्सोल्युटली, बहुत ये भी देखा जाता है कि जो भी हाई डेंसिटी वाली एरियाज है, वहां पे एक आप लोगों का व्हीकल पार्क रहता है, तो ऑटोमेटिकली बॉयज थोड़े से उस चीज को देख के नर्वस होके आगे के एक्शंस नहीं भी लेते हैं। और इवन नाइट टाइम पेट्रोलिंग के अंदर देखा जाता है कि आप लोगों का स्क्वाड बहुत एक्टिव होता है, एंड दे कीप ऑन प्रोटेक्टिंग द गर्ल, द गर्ल फील सेफ इवन एट नाइट टाइम। आप लोग बहुत बढ़िया काम कर रहे हैं। कंप्लेंट्स लॉन्च होने पर, पुलिस के पास जब कंप्लेंट्स लॉन्च हो जाती है, तो कुछ एक्शन लेने के लिए कुछ एक टाइम लिमिट होती है क्या, कि इस समय के अंदर ये एक्शन ली जानी चाहिए?
यस मैम, जो कंप्लेंट्स है तो हमारे दो तरह की कंप्लेंट्स होती है। जो हम पुलिस स्टेशन में कंप्लेंट रजिस्टर करते हैं, जो एफआईआर करते हैं, तो उसका एक अलग टाइप का इन्वेस्टिगेशन होता है, और उसकी चार्जशीट हम न्यायालय में दाखिल कर देते हैं। और जब आपकी कंप्लेंट आप किसी स्क्वाड के पास करो, स्क्वाड पेट्रोलिंग मोबाइल, यानी मोबाइल, उसका नाम ही मोबाइल है, तो उसके काम क्या है, इमरजेंसी हेल्प। जब आप दामिनी पथक के या कोई किसी भी स्क्वाड हो, स्क्वाड के पास जो कंप्लेंट आप करते हैं तो उसका काम इमीडिएटली स्पॉट पे जाना, जो स्पॉट है वहां जाके जो उसको तकलीफ है वो समझ के लेना, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल उसका थोड़ा काउंसलिंग करके उसको कूल कर देना, और जो उसकी जो भी पीड़ा है या जो भी कोई उसकी समस्या है उसका हल करना। और किसी प्रकरण में ऐसे लगता है कि यहाँ एफआईआर लॉन्च होनी चाहिए तो उसको रिलेटेड पुलिस स्टेशन में लेके जाके एफआईआर लॉन्च किया जाता है। मैम
थैंक यू सो मच। एक सिर्फ आपको एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहूंगी, कुछ हेल्पलाइन नंबर्स आप बता सकते हैं? सारे जगह के सेम हेल्पलाइन नंबर्स होते हैं या कुछ हेल्पलाइन नंबर्स स्टेट वाइज सिटी वाइज चेंज होते हैं? एक दो तीन भी नंबर्स आप अगर बताते हैं तो हमारे ऑडियंस को वो हेल्प होगा।
यस मैम, देखो आप 100 नंबर बोले तो पुलिस, ये तो सबके दिमाग में एक फिट है, 100 नंबर है। और अभी कुछ स्टेट्स में डायल 112 प्रोजेक्ट लॉन्च किया गया है, जैसे कि 112 नंबर है, हमारे महाराष्ट्र में भी है, दिल्ली में भी है, और भी कुछ राज्यों में ये अभी लॉन्च हो रहा है। इसके अंतर्गत जो भी हमारे हेल्पलाइंस है पूरी तो मर्ज होने वाली है, अभी तक नहीं हुई है, लेकिन इसके बाद डायल 112 ही एक ऑल इंडिया और हेल्पलाइन रहने वाली है भविष्य में। तो अभी हमारे महाराष्ट्र में आप स्पेसिफिकली तो 100 नंबर, डायल 112 नंबर, मुंबई के लिए अलग से ले तो डायल 103 और 1091 ये महिलाओं के लिए है, बच्चों के लिए 1098। जब आप दिल्ली में जाओगे, दिल्ली तो हमारी कैपिटल है, तो वहाँ भी 112 है, फिर 100 नंबर भी है, 1091 है, 1098, और वहाँ एक अलग से हेल्पलाइन है मैम दिल्ली में, जो भी कौटुंबिक हिंसाचार है हमारे, जो भी डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस है, तो 181 पर आप कॉल करके हेल्प ले सकते हो। जैसे कि हमारे नजदीक गुजरात स्टेट है, तो गुजरात स्टेट में भी आप 100 नंबर पे कॉल करके पुलिस की मदद ले सकते हो। और इसके अलावा आपके पास जब ऐसे हेल्पलाइन आप समझो किसी स्टेट में है और आपको वहाँ के हेल्पलाइन मालूम नहीं है, आप एक या किसी जिले में हो, तो आप एक सिंपल काम कर सकते हो, आप आपके गूगल पे जो पुलिस कंट्रोल रूम है, उस डिस्ट्रिक्ट का पुलिस कंट्रोल रूम का नंबर आप जब गूगल पे डालोगे तो आपको नंबर मिल जाएगा, उस नंबर पे आप कॉल करोगे तो आपको तुरंत हेल्प मिल जाएंगे मैम।
ओके, थैंक यू सो मच। 1001 हमको सबको याद रखना है, और इसके अलावा गूगल पर डायल या टाइप करके हम हेल्पलाइन नंबर्स वहां से ले सकते हैं। थैंक यू सो मच PSI मैम। माय नेक्स्ट question is to Dr. Ashish sir. Ashish sir, how will the life skills help in enhancing the mental strength in self-defense? And a few words on the role of meditation in creating situational awareness.
Yeah, the Campbell's dictionary on mental psychiatry does not have mind and mental as words in it. Okay, because we don't know what is mind and what is mental.
Right.
And what we need to understand is that when you talk about physical strength, it is muscular strength, the bone strength. But when you talk about the mind strength, it is how you modulate the brain centers. And in that, as I was talking, the alarm center. And how will you be able to modulate? So first is preparation. Okay, so whatever we talked about in the last answer. Then anticipate that you can be vulnerable all the time. You are not even safe at home. So you need to be anticipating that you could be a victim anywhere. The third thing is that your physical strength has to be looked after. So your diet and everything has to be looked after, your exercise, the core muscles. And if you can learn some kinesthetic actions, which our fitness expert was talking about, if you can maneuver your own skeletal system in order to prevent damage or reduce the extent of damage, use of technology, whatever that technology is available, if you can use the technology to prevent the damage, then practice it, visualize it, be ready when it would be required. All these things and physical exercise. So finally, what we need to modulate is the adrenergic response in the brain. And that adrenergic response is triggered by exercise, by rage, by anger, by fear. So you need to modulate all these things. How exercise helps is exercise increases the adrenergic response and the cooling down brings it down. Anger suppression, anger control, so anger management techniques. So you are making the locus ceruleus, or the alarm center, more salient, and that is something that needs to be done. So that if that happens, then your responses, even if you are in a precarious situation, would be more modulated. And the brain has two functions, thinking and feeling. It's very easy to understand, if you give in more energy to feeling, then less energy would be available to thinking or rational responses. So that is how, if you do all these things, then you are preventing excess energy of the brain going into the feeling part, and you would be able to give more energy to the thinking part, and you would be able to find a solution. Where meditation helps is the same thing. By controlling, by suppressing every stimuli to the brain and focusing on something that you really want, you are trying to curtail the distractive forces, so that those distractive forces are the locus ceruleus forces. So that is how the meditation part helps. So all these things need to be taught, but meditation is extremely difficult for children. Not only for children, even I find it extremely difficult. So I can
Yes.
consider myself as a child. Meditation is not something that can be done by everybody, and children find it extremely difficult and they get confused. So that meditation part has to be taught very properly.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, sir. So everything requires real good exercise and continuous training. That's a very important task, and then we can really put everything in the proper manner. Otherwise, it's not a. We all have to remain lifelong learner. What this says, and then we can get the master in the each and every part of this type of the meditation and other concentration technique. So my last question to the our advocate, Dr. Pragna Telkar, madam, just give a few comments on the why the cyber crimes are girls and why they can be prevented. And second is the extent difference between the voyeurism and stalking.
So cyber really have increased against everybody, men and women both. Because all of us are going online. Work from home, of course, has changed dynamics. Lockdown has changed dynamics for everybody. But even prior to that, since the last decade or so, there have been a lot of social media influences, and even otherwise, a lot more access to so many things online. Our finances have gone online, our friendships have gone online, so many activities that we do have become online, because of which, of course, offenses have also, and the way one person can take an undue advantage of the other has also come into the cyberspace. While the IT Act was of the year 2000 and it did not have much rigor in terms of the new offenses that came in, there were amendments that went through, and the courts are making sure that interpretations are wide enough to include all the new technological hiccups that people use to get away or escape from the rigors of the law. So offenses have naturally increased on the cyber front, but there are all the opportunities for booking these people under cyber crimes, either under the IPC or the IT Act. However, immediate reporting of such offenses is very, very crucial, much more than an offense that happens in the physical space, because your data tracks can easily be deleted in the cyberspace. Or if it's a monetary transaction, or suppose a video or a photo of a woman is taken and it is circulated. So to go to the source point, it is very essential that you make a reporting immediately when something comes to your knowledge. As far as your second question of voyeurism and stalking, these were also brought in more recently by amendments to the Indian Penal Code. And both have extremely wide scope, and both have penalties which are different for the first time offender vis-a-vis if something is happening a second time by the same person a third time. More graver penalties are given to make sure that it has a deterrence effect. Stalking is something when you're following somebody or again in either physical space or even on an online space. Say, to give you an example, say somebody sends a Facebook request to a girl. She rejects it. She denies that she does not want to be friends with that person. You again send the same kind of request to that person. So you're pestering somebody, and she's shown her disinclination to be in touch with you or to have any sort of physical or online connection with you. That could also amount to an offense under stalking. As far as voyeurism is concerned, that includes watching or taking pictures or distributing pictures of a woman in a private space doing an act which she would otherwise not expect somebody to watch. So, say if somebody is changing clothes, if somebody is involved in any other activity which you do not want people to observe, and somebody is watching you or taking pictures and circulating those pictures, that would come within the fold of this offense.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much, Ms. Pradnya. There are few questions from the audience. I request all the audience to post their questions in the chat box. We have an eminent panelist here, and they'll be answering your question. The next question, I'll just put it to you, Ms. Pradnya. Do we have to take consent of parents before we go in for self-defense workshops?
So under the law, certainly
Yes.
not. In fact, under the POCSO Act, there's a section on cruelty. I had a very queer question from one of the media persons one time, which said that if a child is not taken care of by the parents and she's left at a adoption center, would that amount to cruelty under section 80 or 70? I'm forgetting of the POCSO Act. And my research told me that it could. We could very well make an argument that this amounts to cruelty by the parent to the child. So many such things. Of course, in terms of social understanding, it's best to take permission, but the legal requirement is not there.
Okay, thank you. Next question is to Jayashree ma'am. Will fierce retaliation from the girl invite more bodily harm? Is it better to choose to run away and leave the scene than fight? Ma'am, your take on it, because you have been taking lots of workshops.
For me, it's better to avoid the situation where bodily harm is intended. So it's better to run away rather than fight back. But if at all there is this grave threat is there where you cannot run away, then you have to fight and understand the self-defense techniques which Mr. Shibin Balan is teaching, the weak points in your body parts. Then you will have to use them. But it's better always to avoid the situation where bodily harm is occurring. दो चार पैसे पैके या अपना चेन, whatever is there, you give it to offer it to the person who is attacking and leave the scene. Okay,
exactly. Thank you so much, ma'am. Are there any more questions?
Madam, one more question to the Dr. Deepa Pasi, madam. Please enumerate the different menstrual products that a girl can use.
Okay, the choice basically of the sanitary products is based on the cultural acceptability and the user performance, and also on the availability of the wash facilities, that is the water and the sanitization facilities, and the affordable options, and also according to the environment. Now, the products which can be used are the menstrual cloth, which is reusable. Then it is the reusable pads are also available. Sanitary pads are there. And if you want, tampons are there, and if you want to go green, then the latest is the menstrual cup. And also now they are available biodegradable pink color napkins, which is available on the Amazon, and it costs ₹100 for each pack. So these are the products which can be used.
Can you just enumerate and brief the side effects?
Of course.
Of how they can and how they can be prevented?
Yes, please. When you are using the cloth, make sure that it is of clean and soft variety. And secondly, it should be washed properly, sun dried, and if possible, ironed and then stored in separate thing, because if you reuse it, it can cause infections. Right. So once you use multiple times, it should be discarded. That is for the cloth. For the sanitary napkins, now they have absorbent better off because they have a softer inside, they're odor free, and they sometimes are antibiotics are also there in it, and it prevents infections. But since it has got plastic lining and all, when it comes in contact with the sweat and the skin, it can cause abrasions and irritation and pruritus. So to prevent it, make sure that you change the pad every 4 to 6 hours, depending upon the flow. If the flow is more, then you can change it more frequently. Wash the area properly front to back, avoid the soap and the deodorants and the other things should be avoided because it can cause itching. Now for the tampons, make sure that they are not kept inside the body more than 4 hours. Maximum they stay, it is 8 hours. And don't forget to take it off, because if you leave it inside, it can lead to toxic shock syndrome, which can be very, very harmful, and it can turn out to be lethal. Coming to the menstrual cup, it doesn't cause much problem. So it is basically collecting the blood flow, whereas the tampons are being used as absorbent. So if they are left inside, it can lead to toxicity. So these are the ways you can prevent, and general hygiene is very, very important, as I had enumerated earlier the thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Sameer sir, any questions to you? No more questions to me.
I have one more question, that is what to do if someone is taking the photo of me. If someone taking the photo and they are not stopping, so what we can do? PSI madam or the Pradya madam can take this question.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. If your photo is taken, what can you do to stop it, is it?
Yeah. In the public place, if we are moving around and someone taking the photo, so how can we stop that?
So depending on how strong that person is, and do you think you can confront it? If it's a public place, it's crowded, I think you must immediately go and ask him to show the instrument through which the photo was taken and delete it in front of your eyes, and then report the incident by taking the details to somebody. This is something that happened with me personally at a restaurant in Jodhpur. And we were very, very concerned because, you were dressed differently. You did not want some pictures to be circulated. So being law students, we had the courage and we had people around. So we could go and talk to that person and get the pictures deleted. We did not report it. We did not, because it was deleted. But I think now, as a practicing lawyer, it's important to report, even if you think there are no further consequences, because sometimes these deleted photos also can be reaccessed. But again, this opinion is subject to the fact that it shouldn't so happen that your confrontation leads you into a more unsafe situation. It's important to make sure that it's a crowded place and you confronting this person is not going to put you in a more vulnerable space.
Okay, thank you, madam. So anything has to come to end, and any good things we know, okay, time will be not moving such a fast. We had already completed 1.5 hours. Do you think, is it? Yes. So we almost come to the end of our today's panel discussion, and definitely we will learn more and more with our own module that we are going to start very soon in the April with first TOT. Before that, definitely we like to show one video that is made by our own Dr. Jayashree Deshpande for this action, and then we can end our session if there will be no question will be there. So that's all about the today's presentation. I think one more question came. Bio, biodegradable pink sanitary pads. What is their role?
Yeah, yes, sir. I mentioned it in my talk that we can use it, and it is comes under the name of Pink Magic, available at Amazon at the cost of ₹100. We should use those.
Okay, so thanks a lot. Any more comment from any panelist?
Samir, we have time to show the video, the one which we had said it will show this time.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, if you can show that video.
Family video. Yeah.
Damini Patak, no?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just searching.
Till you start the video, thank you very much all the panelists for your expert and wonderful discussions. And we are going to now follow this program with training modules, and we'll have training of the trainers to carry this module forward in schools and colleges. And in that, we'll be showing video techniques of all what was discussed in theory, but it will be done in practical. That means we'll show videos about self-defense, we'll show the vulnerable points. So it will be really teaching sessions. Today was more of awareness.
हर कठिन परिस्थिति का सामना कर वो अपनी प्रबलता दिखाती है। इसीलिए तो नारी शक्ति कहलाती है। अब वक्त है ऊंची उड़ान भरने का, भय को पराजित करने का, विजयी बनने का। तोड़ के डर की दीवारें, चल बनाए जग नया। लांघ के अब वो लक्ष्मण रेखा, बन निडर, बन निर्भय। हमारी माँ, बेटी और बहनों के हेल्पलाइन 103 पर डायल करते ही निर्भया स्क्वाड उनकी सुरक्षा के लिए हमेशा रहेगी तैयार। सदरक्षणाय, खल निग्रहणाय। मुंबई पुलिस।
This is one of the excellent video that's made by the Nirbhaya police from the Mumbai police, and definitely it helped a lot to improve the self-awareness, self-confidence of the girl when they require such situation, that diverse situation come at any moment, and it will definitely help a lot. And our module is also one of the एक पहल है, we can say, for that type of the process to improve our personal level improvement of the self defense. Thank you. And my sincere thanks to each and every audience who hear us, and my sincere thanks to all the panelists for giving their excellent inputs regarding our today's panel discussion. And we will definitely like to hear you all once again in our module also. Thanks a lot. And my sincere thanks to Dr. Nitish Soni for the good moderating with me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good night. Thank you so much, Dr. Samir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Piyush, you can stop the record. Transmission.
Okay, ma'am.